Welcome to the Podunk Polymath, a podcast dedicated to the sentiments of a secular, sarcastic, screwed-up, Southernist, JW, and skeptic. I'm your host, Chris. Come on in. This is episode 6 of the Podunk Polymath Podcast. Thanks again for joining me. I'd like to celebrate a couple of firsts. First, I have my first patron, Brainstorm Podcast crew, the ones that had me on there not too long ago to talk about white onion privilege. So I want to thank the guys over there in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, for being my first patron, and it's a worthy patron indeed. So thank y'all again. Also, I got my first review on iTunes, which I'm super excited about, and obviously it's 5 stars, because why wouldn't it be? It's from Peace Upon Him, Be Upon Him, Ain't No Dumb Redneck, is the title of the review. I guess it refers to me, which I should take kindly, I suppose. Great interviews, brings humor out in his guests, talks about social justice issues. This is an atheist who has moved to the next level. He's a reasonable skeptic. So thanks, peace be upon him. Sorry. So I'm really glad those two things finally happened for me. It's like busting my cherry. On a not so great note, there's been some news that's come out. I believe it was last night, which was Saturday night. There was an explosion in Chelsea, the Chelsea neighborhood in New York. And apparently 29 people were injured last count. Thankfully, nobody was killed. It was a pressure cooker bomb apparently, and had like debris in there, and it shot out. I think it was under a trash can or something. One of those heavy-duty trash containers or something. And there was another one in the area that did not go off, thankfully. So, like I said, nobody was killed, but there were several people injured. Police are still looking into what caused it, who did it. For some reason, they're already saying they don't think there's a link to international terrorism, which I hope is the case. But there's plenty of terrorists in this country. You can bet your ass on that, especially at the dawn of Trump here. Trump seems to inspire a lot of that bullshit. So anyway, my thoughts and prayers, but who the hell am I talking about? My thoughts go out to those who are affected, have been affected, and hopefully we'll find the perpetrators and we can figure out what the hell's going on. And also I wanted to give another poke to people about the whole Dakota pipeline, access pipeline that's been going down. And there's still no widespread news about it, really. Bernie Sanders' Facebook site mentioned it, but I haven't seen it getting a lot of press except for MSNBC and I guess quote-unquote liberal sources. I haven't seen it pop up in the mainstream media. National Guard was called out, and local police were called out. So, to stop these protests, and they were pepper spraying them and sicking dogs on. This is ridiculous. This just goes to show what cahoots government is in with the big oil, and to make sure they don't get their precious, greed is, I just can't even with this shit. It's ridiculous. The greed is just crazy. We need to get people aware of what's going on. We need to stand up and say enough is enough with big oil, man. They just are not going to be happy until they destroy the entire fucking environment. Really, that's what it's going to come down to. So, if you haven't seen it, read up on it. Democracy Now! Is doing a good job with it. Amy Goodman even got an arrest warrant put out for her because she was at the protest, and I'm not even sure what the hell she did. As far as I can tell, she was just there reporting the news, but they said she was interfering with police business, some bullshit. I don't fucking know. So kudos to her. She's always been an independent journalist who isn't afraid to go out there and get her hands dirty. So I've always liked her, and Democracy Now! So as a news source in general, you should probably go Democracy Now! For an independent source. But anyway, for the palaver this week, I have probably one of my favorites that I've done so far. I'm really excited about. So y'all tune in and listen to that, and I hope you enjoy it.
The Atheist Nomads are hosting a 12-hour streamathon from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. Mountain on Saturday, September 24, 2016, to raise money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night Walk. Dustin is walking for his mom, who survived Hodgkin's lymphoma nearly 35 years ago, and Lauren is walking for her uncle, who was lost to leukemia, and aunt to lymphoma. Both are walking as part of the Treasure Valley Coalition of Reason team. The funds raised will be going to help patients pay for the ridiculously expensive treatments. Go to atheistnomads.com/live for more details and links to where you can donate. And yes, there will be a drinking game.
Hello, I'm Senator Bernie Sanders. I know you're all disappointed that I didn't get the Democratic Party nomination. I mean, can you imagine me debating Trump? He wouldn't have an iceberg's chance in hell of winning the presidency. Anyway, I don't want you to give up hope, though, because the revolution continues with the Bi-Skeptical Podcast. Every 2 weeks, two bisexual atheists, Trav Mamone from the By Any Means podcast and Morgan Stringer from No Religion Required, get together to discuss politics, religion, and current events from a skeptical point of view. If you're still feeling the burn, you can find the Bi-Skeptical Podcast on Spreaker, iTunes, and Stitcher, because no matter what happens in November, the revolution will always be bigger than Donald Trump's hands.
Welcome to another iteration of the Palaver here on the Podunk Polymath Podcast. This week I have a duo with me that I am actually very excited to have on. One of them is from No Religion Required. He does a segment called God Hates Facts, and he's just an all-around badass. And then from the Gaytheist Manifesto, I have someone who does humorous asides, comic relief, and rather absurdist outros, which is often hilarious, sometimes confusing, never boring. And so they join together to form this SJW Circle Jerk. It's like the ELP of atheist podcasts. If you don't get that, then
prog rock humor. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, the super group of atheist SJW podcast, skeptical podcast. I bring you Ari Stillman and Jeremiah Traeger. How y'all doing?
Do I get to be Keith Emerson? I play keyboards. It's so great.
Yeah, but he's dead, so you might want to.
Oh, that's okay, because I'm also filled with existential dread. So,
well, he basically, it was depressing. He decided he couldn't play anymore, and he just killed himself.
Mm.
Wow,
sounds fitting for me.
Yeah,
suicide joke.
Yeah, it's
there we go.
And thus we come. First of all, y'all gotta tell us a little bit about yourself and your shows to make sure we're on the same page.
The real shows we do, or the fake one?
Okay, well, first the real shows y'all do.
You go first, Derby.
Well, I've been with No Religion Required since like episode 22 or something. You've already talked to me on the show that kicked you out, Chris. So totally. And I still do it. I do a segment called God Hates Facts. I'm going to be stepping down from some of the more being more of a regular member of the show, but still being as involved as I can. Try to teach science, combat against woo and other types of bullshittery. And I also have weird quasi bizarro humor outros too, but everybody wants to give credit to Ari, so fuck them.
It's because I'm the best. I'm the co-host on the Gaytheist Manifesto, which is basically 98% Callie being awesome and 2% me being snarky. And people always ask me, "Oh, how did Callie bring you on the show?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't do things. I just come on and make silly jokes and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. And everyone's like, "Oh, Ari, you're so smart. Oh, Ari, you're so funny." I'm like, what? I don't get it. What? Why are you saying these things?
Yeah, we have very similar roles on each of our shows, except nobody tells me I'm interesting or funny. So that's the difference between the two of us.
So you're the Toms, basically.
Because you're just you're just a straight white cis guy. So
right.
People don't have anything nice to say to you because you're the only group that people can hate in this country. Whereas if they say something mean to me, then that's transphobic.
Right. Maybe if I apologize for my identity more, then people would take me more seriously.
Let's not get Canadian now. Calm down.
Sorry.
Apologizing. Anyway, and y'all join together to start a new show, which nobody is supposed to listen to, apparently.
Yeah, why are you helping us promote it? This is bullshit. Like what?
I'm sorry.
Why?
Actually, because you stole my fucking idea and you did it first. And you got...
Why did we agree to go on this bullshit? I've already been interviewed.
Have no idea. Like,
Trust
I actively don't want to promote our show.
Nobody's listening to this, so you don't have to worry about it, okay? I've got, like, no listeners, so you ain't got to worry about it.
Sad thing is, we probably have more listeners than Chris, unfortunately. So.
Oh.
No, hey, I have no... I've got no argument with that. That's true.
We'll start plugging your show at the end of our show. Be like, hey, you got through this bullshit. I'm sure you can get through something else.
Send all your email to Chris the Podunk Polymath at whatever.com. That's what we'll do.
So you don't even have the fucking email address.
I don't.
Dang. Lord have mercy. Okay. So, yeah, y'all started this SJW Circle Jerk, and I loved it immediately, mostly because it's funny to me. Of course, I know nobody's listening, but I'm one of your, like, 5 listeners. And I think it's funny, and I like the way y'all kind of not take yourself seriously. The whole SJW thing, you kind of poke fun at it a little bit because sometimes it can get a little too serious, and who are we if we can't make fun of ourselves? And that's any group. So what was y'all's thought processes for the show, or do y'all just say, fuck it, we want to do something, and we don't care if anybody listens? Because that's the way it sounds to me.
Yeah, that's literally almost exactly what our thoughts were. We just always have cool conversations, and I was like, it would be fun if we just, like, recorded them because it would be fun. And I literally do not care if anybody listens to it. I just thought it would be fun for us to talk about stuff and record it. And for that reason, like, we don't have a Patreon or a Facebook page, or we don't give our contact information in the show because we do not care what people think, or at least I don't. I don't know about you, Jeremiah.
Well, some of that's begrudging, but then we'll get into a shouting match with each other, and then we'll kill each other, and then we'll cancel the show. So whatever.
Yeah, kill and cancel.
But it's really funny because the other 3 No Religion Required, like, I think I had this idea, or one of us had this idea. I don't know who came up with the idea. It definitely happened.
It was me.
It definitely. I don't know who came up with the idea.
It was me.
It was definitely after. There was this dumbass YouTube video, YouTube atheism, typical, and, like, he had this dumbass conspiracy theory about, like, a ton of like fucking I don't know, like Matt Dillahunty donating to Aaron Raw and Seth Andrews, and them donating to him on Patreon, and this guy just went through all the atheist activists who donate to each other mutually, and, like, he set it up as, like, some weird conspiracy theory, and, like, nobody cared except this guy, and he called it, like, an SJW circle jerk. And we had an episode of No Religion Required where we pretty much took the piss out of that, and it actually that might be still my favorite episode of ours. But I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't know how we came up with the idea or who came up with it, but when
it was
we came
me
up with
because
it,
I had a crush on you and I wanted to do a show with you.
I think but I definitely came up with the idea for the name, so that's how.
That's incorrect, but we'll let you have this one. It's okay. I mean, I know you're jealous a lot of the time because I'm in the limelight a lot, and people are saying really nice things about me. I think it's adorable that you want to be just like me. So I think you can have some of my glory.
I don't want to cut off my boobies, so that's one thing.
Oh, God!
Transphobic joke. There we go.
See, but I have a trans partner, so I can't be transphobic, so it's okay.
Oh, wait a minute! No! You can't do that.
No, that's the thing. When we first started talking, he would make these little, like, tiny, small transphobic jokes, then be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to offend you. Was that too much?" And I was like, "No, dude, it's fine. Like, I know that you're not being an asshole about it. You're pretending to be one of the assholes."
See, that's funny. Ari thinks I'm pretending.
Yes, that's what I think.
That's what the kind of meta shit, the satire going on. It's you're kind of, am I supposed to be offended or not? It's like, wait a minute.
Well, that's the thing. Like, fucking, like, when people are on your side, like, people have this picture of, like, fucking SJWs and feminists or whatever who can't take a joke against women. And, like, the thing is, like, it's because, like, those jokes just perpetuate, this idea of the marginalization. It just perpetuates it. And they're just not telling the joke the right way. Like, I know when Ari and Callie were on Gamcast, which is the shitty movie review podcast.
Tell me about it.
That was like, there were just, homophobic slurs. There were faggots, trannies, like, just thrown around left and right.
Hey,
and
they didn't say tranny.
You didn't say tranny? I didn't know.
No, it was a movie about same-sex marriage, and luckily they didn't throw any of their ire towards trans people. Because I would have been a bit more emotional probably during that.
Eli definitely threw in some fat phobic humor at one point, even directly at Callie. But, like, that's the thing. Like, there's a space for that type of humor, and, like,
it's called Gamcast.
Yeah, it's called Gamcast, and definitely not our podcast. I don't know why I would compare our podcast to Gam, because they're interesting, and you should listen to that one.
Well, okay. Maybe when Ishmael's on there, but
Ishmael, he's my black friend. He's also the reason.
Exactly.
He's the reason why my jokes aren't racist, because he's my friend.
There it is.
You can't be racist if you have a black friend. Duh.
Exactly. That's the comparison I was going to make, but you beat me to it. So, what is the space? I mean, I know what you're saying, and y'all. I mean, I cringe sometimes. The kind of shit Jeremiah. I have to, and I'm like, what did they?
You didn't hear the stuff that Ari edited out.
Yeah, there's been some worse stuff that I've edited out because it was awkward, and I was like, and then there was an awkward pause for 20 seconds, and I edited that part out.
Does it bother you?
Good.
Does it bother you, Ari, at all? I mean, does he go over the line, or
no? It doesn't.
Yes.
It doesn't bother. What? Well,
they're not going to admit it, but I did.
The things that actually bother me occasionally, like a little bit, are stuff that are directed towards groups that I'm not a part of, and it's not actually directed at them, because I know you as a person, and I know you don't actually mean that stuff. You're doing it just for the shock factor mostly, and to make fun of the people who actually believe that kind of thing. So when you make, like, transphobic jokes, for example, it doesn't bother me at all, because I know who you are as a person, and I know that you don't actually mean any of that stuff. Like, my other partner, Zach, makes transphobic jokes about me sometimes, too. Like, he'll come over and hug me and say, "Who's my favorite trans man?" And I'm like, that's not how that works. I'm not a trans man. And he's like, "Yeah, but you're so hairy."
I'm not laughing.
But they are hairy. That's not a joke.
Yeah, that was a thing that we talked about in our most recent episode. But anyway, back to the topic. No, it doesn't bother me, but that's because I know him. If it was some random person that I didn't trust and didn't know at all who was making those kind of things, and I was not sure whether or not they actually really felt that way, then it would be a different story.
Interesting. Because I've listened, like, to every episode. I know you don't want me to.
All 6 of them.
It's like a train wreck. I can't help myself. And I've always liked Ari on the show on Gaytheist Manifesto, because they were so funny and just so off the wall. And I don't know, it's something about you. Just, oh, wait a minute. Shit, I'm supposed to be insulting you. I'm sorry. Yes. You're boring, and
they interrupt jokes all the time.
That's because my jokes are funnier.
No, he's just trying to be nice to you because you're trans.
Oh, okay.
Like, they literally interrupt my jokes all the time. Like, I re-listen to our podcast, and I'm like, why the fuck did you interrupt me there? God damn it.
Because I'm a marginalized person, and my voice needs to be heard.
Pshaw.
Smalley say.
Okay, we don't need
your voices are heard all the time. It's time for me to have my voice. God damn it. Which is another thing that Jeremiah says all the time. He's like, I'm a white, straight, cis guy, and my voice needs to be heard.
Excuse me, but white males in this country are the only race in the country who you can legally make fun of now. So there.
Well, you're not wrong. I'm just saying. So yeah, obviously y'all get along. Y'all are familiar with each other. What if it was just two kind of random people? Do you think it wouldn't come off quite as the same? Probably if I guess they didn't know each other. I guess. I'm trying to delve a little bit, and I don't want to ruin it too much, but, what if it was just somebody off the street listening to your podcast and didn't realize the kind of...
That's part of the reason why I'm reluctant to make our show an actual thing. Like, the only way that people can really find our podcast is if they already know us. Because we only post it on our Facebook pages and, like, on the No Religion Required page. And you can find it on Spreaker and iTunes if you look really hard, but I don't know why anyone would be searching for SJW Circle Jerk in Spreaker or iTunes.
Unless you were Agent of Doubt on YouTube. But.
Yeah. Unless you were that guy. So it's just, it's not something where I want it to, like...
I can understand that. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just our family, and it's just people that know us. So if it was other people, I feel like we would get a lot of people being like, what the fuck is this shit?
And I guess that's why I enjoy it, is because it's a feeling of sort of camaraderie almost. We're all kind of know each other, and it's kind of, because if anybody listens to either of y'all on any other shows, they know who you are already. Yeah. So it's not like it's a surprise or anything.
And we get to make fun of people like David Smalley. Because David Smalley is definitely listening to us.
He opened himself up to it this week.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Because that's the thing that we do every episode. And at this point, I don't even know if I want to keep making fun of him. Because, like, he's... I don't want to drag specifics in. But, if he's feeling attacked recently, I really don't want to add to it. I don't want to even...
It's okay. He's never going to find out. He doesn't even know who we are. He thinks his name is Johnny, for crying out loud.
He gave me a hug at Reason Rally, motherfucker.
And called you Johnny. Johnny! Hug.
Well, that was the thing I used to do on No Religion Required, and Bobby was like, you should probably stop making fun of David Smalley, because people are going to get the impression that we at No Religion Required hate David Smalley. And I'm like, okay.
Well... Like I said, nobody listens to this show anyway. So, and I have my own opinions, but I won't. That's not the point of the show. So I'll let that slide.
Yes, for the record, precious opinions.
For the record, I do like David Smalley.
Well,
that's.
But it's just so much fun to make fun of him, though.
That's just me.
Okay.
That's just me. I'm not gonna start any feud or anything. But anyway, so yeah, and of course, both of y'all are kind of in a. What do y'all call it? Is an open relationship, or do y'all? Is that
what is it, Ari?
We don't know.
Pass. Okay, so I just came across this term last night, and like I had no clue this was a thing. But we actually dove into this on our second episode, and like we kind of value the idea of any type of relationship. Like you can have all sorts of friendships. Like you can have a friendship with your coworkers. You can be best friends with someone. You can sort of just be friends with one of the grocery store workers that you see every time you go in. And there's like a whole spectrum for that. But there's so many expectations for a romantic relationship. And I just think that's bullshit. We kind of, went way into depth in that in our second episode. But I came across this term.
Mark?
Yes. I think that's the one. But
yes, it was the polyamory episode.
Yeah, I came across this term last night. And it's called relationship anarchy, and I think it's fucking rad. It's a new term to me, so I'm not going to pretend to go into all the details of what it's like, but from what it appears, it's like, just basically treating a romantic relationship without any preconceived notions or societal expectations or boundaries, except for the ones negotiated between the two partners. So I think that's fucking rad. So there.
Okay. Take that.
Okay. Is rad a thing again? Just so we're clear.
Well, Stranger Things came out, and now we're into the 80s revival nostalgia phase.
Let me tell you
the 80s, which we were totes alive for.
I was in that movie or in that show. That was me. Okay, that's the age I was at that time. You don't get to use rad, man. I'm sorry. I can use rad because I'm old.
Oh, that's your word. Okay.
Yeah, it's my word.
We have
buddy.
to use our 90s slang, but Jeremiah can use more of it because he's older and wiser than I am.
Yeah, I am between the two of us. I'm the older and wiser.
Y'all are pretty young. I mean, I feel like an old fucker compared to most of the people doing this kind of thing. Y'all in your 20s, mid-20s, is that right?
Yeah, we're 24.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
But collectively, that's 48 years of wisdom. So,
whatever you say. Okay, I'll let you have that.
But Jeremiah is a day wiser than I am. So
yes,
a day. Really?
Yep, he was born the day before I was.
Oh, that's so
it's
cute.
It's so sweet. We're birthday buddies.
Oh, that's awesome. You make me sick to my stomach. Anyway,
fuck that nonsense. So, the important thing is that I'm older.
Well, anyway, so this anarchy thing, and I wonder, of course, for somebody who's a little older, who's, I guess, more raised in the traditional ways of love and such, maybe it'd be a little more difficult to embrace that sort of thing. I feel like the generation that's coming up now are a lot freer and able to do more as far as relationships, gender identity, and all that stuff. Like, you just embrace it wholeheartedly. The idea to me of not just it being anarchy just freaks me out.
Well, I mean, it's a work in progress for us too. Like, we were not exposed to these kinds of ideas growing up. And, me personally, I was not really in favor of polyamory, or I didn't think that polyamory was anything that I could ever be a part of until I don't know when it was. It was probably maybe about a year or a year and a half ago when I started listening to Secular Sexuality with Daryl Ray. And he's poly, and he's had several guests on who have talked about, what it's like being poly and explaining how polyamory works to people who don't understand it. And that was the first time I'd ever really been exposed to that kind of idea, because I grew up like most people with the idea of, you grow up and you find your one true love and you get married and you have your children and you stay together forever, or for maybe 10 or 12 years until you get divorced, and then you do it again.
Or unless you get hit by a car.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Wow.
So I was not, at first I was kind of uncomfortable with that, with the idea of having more than one partner at a time, because I just never really thought about it. And it took me...
But then your QP came along.
Well, no, that was before that. But that's a whole other confusing story. So it took me a while of thinking about that for a few months and listening to Daryl Ray and his guests and looking at some other resources as well. And I tried to be a skeptic about it and think, okay, what are my reasons for not being comfortable with this? Even if it wasn't for me, like, why would I be uncomfortable with someone else doing this? So I tried to be a skeptic about it and think about what are my rational reasons for this. And I realized that they weren't actually rational, that they were based in preconceived notions and in the culture that I grew up in. And so I became more comfortable with the idea. And I still was thinking it's probably not for me, but if someone else does it and everyone involved in the situation is, happy and consenting and there's communication going, I don't see why that should be a problem. People can set up their relationships however they want. And then Jeremiah came along and threw a monkey wrench in everything.
And then Jeremiah came along.
And then he shot people or something and then rapped. Is that what happened?
What the fuck?
I thought you were like cocking a gun and then...
No.
Well, that's part of the problem, because Zach's kind of weird about it, which we can, like, we've talked about it, and I hope Zach is Ari's partner, and, like, I don't have anything but grudging against him, but it's like, that's another thing he has to work out, and that's fine. But, like,
are you comfortable? Let me stop. Are you comfortable talking about?
Yeah, I've talked about it on Gaytheist Manifesto before, and we're actually going to be recording an episode this weekend that is partially about this, so it's cool.
Wait.
So yeah,
I this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I texted you about this, dog.
I don't know. I didn't know it was. Okay.
Dog.
No, but okay. Hold on. So, but Zach's not cool with it. But I actually.
That's not true.
Well, he's not cool with sexing.
Yeah, most.
I'm sorry. Did you say sexting? Is that what
No,
you said?
sexting. He doesn't. He probably doesn't want me sending dick pics to Ari either. I guess maybe you know what I should do? I should like send him pre-approved dick pics. Like he can approve the dick pics that I can send to you.
Okay.
As if I
all right.
actually like dicks at all.
Well, are
That's
you
what you're
comfortable in?
assuming.
Are you comfortable in saying how intimate this is, or no? You don't have to.
I don't understand the question.
Our thing, like how intimate we've gotten. I don't know. It's like we've made out, stuff like that. I don't know.
And done some epic cuddling.
Yeah, we went to Reason Rally, and we were
That's right.
we were gonna go to another conference, Gateway to Reason, and that was an epic failure, probably because they had a harassment policy or something like that. But we made plans to go to St. Louis anyway, so we were like, yeah, let's just do it. So that was cool.
So then we had our second date in St. Louis and our first date in Washington, D.C. Our dates are super epic.
Now, if Zach's not okay with me fucking you, does he still have, like, an okay to fuck list? Like, if Eli, I don't know.
Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, I want to point out how awesome it is that you're so is he okay to fuck you? I mean, is he okay? I mean, the way he just come, I'm like thinking it, but he just comes out and say it. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's something that we've had to talk about as
you go, big J Dog.
No, but like I'm just some like guy. I'm not really important in the movement, but I don't know. Ari, say you wanted to fuck Alan Rickman if he was still alive. Like, would Zach let you fuck? Would Zach let you fuck Alan Rickman?
I don't know because I have not asked Zach specifically about that.
There's usually a celebrity list that you are allowed in most relationships.
Yeah.
There is, but Zach and I are reasonable and rational people who don't think about such fairy tales. So we have never made this list. Because I'm never going to fuck Alan Rickman because he's dead, and also even if he was alive, he's famous and also doesn't know me.
It means you can't say no at this point, though.
Oh my God, you're killing me.
Necrophilia jokes.
You're getting your SJW card.
I mean, at this point, since he's decomposed so much, you could really bone him hard. So
I'm gonna need you to go ahead and cease and desist.
Is it necrophobic if I don't want to fuck a dead person?
Is that a thing?
It's gonna be a thing. It's the new movement. Dead people's rights.
That's the name of the fucking episode.
We need to get our other movement off the ground, though.
Oh, yes. We have okay, I'm not going to spoil it, but we have an epic episode that's going to be coming out whenever we decide to do it. About a new social justice movement.
Hey, you're the limiting factor to this thing.
It's always my fault.
Because of your, you won't get over your, stupid depression bullshit, so.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Mental health
you're hitting all the greatest hits. All the greatest hits. And that, okay, I gotta be honest, you're like the id. You're like the all the shit that I'm thinking I'm not supposed to. I'm like, I don't want to say it, but I'm thinking it because I'm really an asshole at heart. Anybody who goes back and listens to most of my episodes on Unbuckling the Bottle Bet knows that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everyone's thinking in their head, God, when is Ari going to stop whining about their mental health?
Oh,
and
no.
Jeremiah's the only one who actually says it.
Oh, no, Ari. We love you.
It's okay.
We love you. You're just insufferable.
I know. I just got a broken brain.
Trust me, I'm going through my own shit. So
that's what Eli says too. He's like, "Hey, Ari, you've got bad brain chemicals too, right?" I was like, "Yeah, that's right."
Yeah, Eli is a good example of somebody I think who, of course, he's a comedian, I guess by trade, you could say, but he's also of course, when I don't know, what do you want to call it? The Q-gate thing happened or whatever.
That's a good name for it. I like that.
And
now who's bringing up old drama shit, Chris, huh? Okay.
I know, and he deleted the entire fucking podcast. But anyway, oh my God. Talking about some Orwellian shit, erasing the past.
I'm basically a poor man's Eli. Eli said I'm funny once, but very poor. Yeah, no, I agree. Eli said I was funny once, but since I have worrying disease, I assume he just said that to make me feel better. So,
whatever. I find you like I said, you're like me, kind of. I identify with your humor, except I look better. Of course, I am older, but I'm fatter. But when I was
Is that identity politics? Identity politics are kind of bullshit.
It's poison.
I'm confused now. I'm so confused.
You said you identify with his humor.
Ah, yes. I didn't. Okay, right. You're right. No, I agree. All us white males have to stick together.
Get that shit out of here.
Well, see, like, we're just making these jokes that wouldn't be acceptable to a stranger, but, since people know we're on, their side, then it's kind of okay. And, like, even if, like, we'll make fun of things that SJWs say, like, it's sort of like we're making the joke and pointing at ourselves. But, even our first episode, we, criticized a piece that we thought went too far.
That's right. We did do that. Oh, we're so good.
Yeah. What piece? I don't remember.
It was about the Orlando shooting. And it was.
Oh, I remember now. Yeah, because they said nobody could. You're not helping. What was it? You're not helping straight white people or something.
Yeah, they're saying anyone who isn't, gay or Latinx or something shouldn't talk about the Orlando shooting.
Yeah,
and there's certainly some merit to that. To the idea, you should elevate those affected. But say, the Steven Andersons of the world aren't going to shut up about, how great that all those, homos got gunned down in the club. Like, those people aren't going to shut up, and they deserve as much opposition as they can get. So, and I think one of our upcoming topics, we're going to cover, a lot of the time it's okay for atheists to talk about atheist arguments that are shit. And, like, that's actually a pretty popular topic. And we will talk about some social justice things that may cause harm, and I think it's kind of okay. And I know I'm the stereotypical white male being like, there are some things that go too far, but, like, there's just a few things that might drive us crazy, and it's not like we're like fucking Sargon of Akkad who's making 20-minute long videos about how Anita Sarkeesian is bullshit and Black Lives Matter is a is a victim cult.
Motherfuck! Oh my god! I'm so done with those fuckers.
Yeah,
all those YouTube atheist fuck sticks. I mean, Sargon, fucking Thunder douche, fucking amazing asshole. All those fuckers. I mean, I got so pissed off about all that shit that happened. And they got in that feud with, who was that guy?
Steve Shives.
Steve Shives,
oh,
yeah.
He's Martin Hughes.
Yeah. He wrote the article or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they got into some big back and forth about it. It's just...
This is something that Ari's fascinated with, by the way.
I'm so fascinated.
Ari loves.
Drama. I love
Ari loves the atheist drama. They just.
I do to an extent. I have to admit, especially when a certain thing happened that Ari was involved in occurred.
Well,
which
I shouldn't have complained about someone giving me a compliment that made me uncomfortable and feel like I was being sexually objectified by a total stranger.
Oh, it was the whole thing.
I should never have made a private post to my friends only about a thing that happened to me.
Well, apparently they weren't all your friends. You had a fucking mole in there somewhere. And that's what pisses me. I mean, I don't want to, I know we're not supposed to compliment you or whatever, but fuck it. I mean, you're like the most genuine person I've ever come across. One of the most genuine people I've ever come across. And anybody who would do that shit to you, I mean, that's just jacked up. I'm sorry. That's just my personal opinion. And I don't know. I don't understand the impetus behind it. I really. Are you that just petty?
I shrug at the whole thing. I just thought it was kind of weird and amusing a little bit because I'm like, I don't even know this person, and it's kind of strange to me that he's picking on me and sending people out to harass me, and I've literally never spoken a word to him in my life. We're not even Facebook friends. So I thought that was kind of weird, and I wasn't terribly affected by it because I didn't even see most of the stuff that was said anyway because I was blocked from viewing the page.
Preemptively.
Yes.
Preemptively blocked.
Preemptively blocked, so
so
I couldn't even
bizarre
say about me. But then I found out later that some people that were actually my friends actually, were upset about some things that I said. So I made a little apology explanatory post, and I never heard anything about it again. So the end of that.
Okay, well, we'll leave that alone.
Okay.
I don't want to say anything more about that. Let's keep the negative.
I mean, that was the thing that hurt me, was that people that I actually care about were hurt by something that I did. That's important to me. If some random asshole that I've never talked to is talking to other random assholes that I've never talked to, making fun of me, I don't care. I don't know you. Like, we don't have a thing.
I understand that. I mean, I went through that, and I had hurt some people that I really cared about. I don't want to get into it because poor Chris.
I tried to make a tasteful Reason Con 2 joke, but I just can't do it. But whatever.
No, there's not one.
It's not tasteful.
It's not tasteful.
Even what I just said was total like nonsense. Chris is like, I'm gonna edit this out later.
And I know so little about atheist drama that I don't even know what that means.
It's fine. It was. I still live with the fucking guilt.
That's the funny thing, because I keep tabs on the atheist community real tight. I look at all the threads and everything. Try to keep my eyes open and make sure I know what everybody's position on everything is. And Ari just has no patience for that whatsoever. So.
Well, I mean, I to an extent I can understand. I mean, because you get bogged down in that kind of shit, and it just gets psychically tiring, mentally and emotionally. You're just like, Jesus, I don't have the fucking spoons for this shit. Yeah, exactly.
I have very few spoons to begin with. I don't need to be getting involved in other people's spoon problems.
Yeah, so, I mean, I can understand. Some people just thrive on it. I mean, a lot of people, where I work, people thrive on, it's just like, they come, what can I fucking talk about today that's, drama at work? I'm like, what do you do when you get home? I don't understand.
Probably yell at my children.
Or whatever, get on the phone and talk shit about people all day. I don't know. There's just other shit going on that, I do some major drama that comes up. I keep track of. I will admit it's a certain voyeuristic thing going on. I'd
probably just make a 40-minute YouTube of the takedown of my baby that I'm going to beat. It shit his pants, and now I'm going to spend 40 minutes on YouTube talking about how feminism is bullshit. Stuff like that.
Yeah, and go make a lot of fucking money. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the money these fuckers make?
Yeah, I know, and Rick Rubin's got, not Rick Rubin, Dave Rubin. Not the
audio. Rick
Rubin? Not the producer. The producer.
Dave Rubin, he just went off the network because he's got so much Patreon money. He doesn't need to even get paid by a company, and now he is a platform for the alt-right, and it's just what the fuck? But there is
and good for you, dude, if you can, make money doing what you do and people are willing to pay you. I hate what you say, but I can at least respect that you're, making money fairly honestly.
I don't have to respect it, though. That's the thing. It's just like people, I don't have to respect your religious beliefs. I can respect you as a person. I don't respect him as a person either. So.
Yeah, but
to be fair, I know barely anything about him. So I don't know if I respect him as a person or not because I don't know enough about him.
That's true. I have to say, since you only have the only face you see is the face he presents to the general public. So I know he could be a cool guy behind closed doors. I doubt it.
He just wants to get on climate change deniers and Milo Yiannopoulos to give their side of the story. And it's okay, sure, yep. Okay.
Milo needs to be heard.
Free Nero or whatever that nonsense was.
Oh God!
Dicks out for Milo.
Dicks. he's just so ridiculous. It's just.
I will totes take my dick out for Milo. Okay, don't know who he is, but I'll take my dick out.
He doesn't think you exist because he thinks transgender people are.
That's
nonsense.
Right. Yeah.
So he's also gay and doesn't think lesbians exist either. I just can't think.
Is he like a super troll? I just wonder if he's like just...
It's very possible.
I don't, I really hate reading into intentions. Like, I don't think...
I know.
I don't think anybody... People can't read minds, and it's impossible for me to know exactly what you're thinking, which is not to say you shouldn't act in a way that keeps you safe and not vulnerable to some intentions somebody might have. But like, I'm never willing to really say somebody is lying or stuff like that. But when Milo, who's a gay man, says that lesbians don't exist, it's just so incredibly hard to.
My skeptic senses are tingling at that.
My skeptic sense.
Yeah. So, but I keep tabs on that stuff, and I'm a white male, so between the two of us, I get to keep tabs on what the alt-right's doing and the anti-SJW side of atheism movements.
So what's your job then, Ari? I mean, if he's keeping track of all the...
To cry and be victimized and whine about how I have it so tough.
Oh, man.
And send Jeremiah out to do my bidding for me because I have converted him to the cult of regressive leftism.
Oh, nice. Cult of regressive leftism. I like that. And what precisely are the regressive left?
I've heard this term know.
Used. I'm not real sure what it means.
I think it started out pretty legitimately, and I still think it could have legitimate usage, especially when you're talking about ex-Muslims, because if you listen to ex-Muslim voices, they're the ones who say, the right wing wants to eradicate all Muslims and like create a culture that discriminates against us because we quote unquote look Muslim. But then you have like the super far left. They tend not to be secular voices, but they don't want to criticize the tenets of Islam, and they just want to pretend that Islam is, just a lovey-dovey hippie religion. And like, as more of a leftist myself, I don't want to marginalize any Muslims out there, but like, also I think their religion is deplorable, but I think the regressive left used to just refer to leftists who refused to acknowledge that Islam had problems, and now it's since expanded to the same clusterfuck that social justice warrior has expanded to. So, which
confused me a lot, because when I first heard the term regressive leftist, it was, in regards to SJW stuff, and I had never heard it, so I was like, what is this? And I looked it up, and the Wikipedia page was talking about Islam, and I was like, what? That has nothing to do with what these other people were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I keep track of the ex-Muslim community. Well,
basically, a regressive leftist is a person who thinks people are people and you should treat them like people. I don't know.
And that's what this whole thing boils down to. This whole SJW thing, this being used as a derogatory term, just comes down to the fact that don't be a dick to people. It's like, how do I phrase this? Don't be an asshole to people.
It's a good rule of thumb.
I'm trying to come up with some more complicated, explanation. But just don't be a dick. I mean, if somebody has pronouns, like this whole thing that happened at Reason Rally, this whole kerfuffle that happened because of the code of conduct, or the term, whatever the fuck it was.
Harassment policy thingy.
Yeah, or whatever it was. Use proper pronouns or whatever.
Yeah, I know it's less fun to go to Reason Rally because you can't harass minorities, but, it makes
you can, place. But we'll think you're not a nice person.
Also, they'll kick me out. I don't know.
I don't understand. I really genuinely don't like this whole thing that happened. That came up recently with Ellen or whatever, the Usain Bolt thing on her back, guy on her back or whatever. And this just brought to light the fact that it seemed like more people were offended by the fact that some people were a little upset by it for fairly obvious reasons. The people who are getting pissed off because other people happen to be a little hurt because, maybe their ancestors were actually used as fucking human transport. Right. How dare they? Really? How dare they?
Yeah. Well, and we're three white people talking about this, and so I'm just going to go off what...
Whoa, did you just assume Chris's race?
I know Chris's race. I've seen pictures of him. He looks like a white boy.
Oh, I'm white as fuck, trust me.
No, I'm gonna go off my black friend, whose name is Ishmael. He didn't even think it was that much of a problem, but he made the point, like, even if he didn't think it was that racist, he understands why a lot of people were hurt by that, and it's not his place to be like, oh, this country's getting so goddamn sensitive all the time. Just, like, acknowledge that people are coming from different places. Like, I don't know.
That's what it is, though. This is what, this is what's so ironic about the whole thing. We're becoming, or at least a segment of the population is becoming more aware that, yeah, sometimes people get upset about things because it genuinely hurts them.
Mm.
It's not because we're become more sensitive. And even if, yeah. Okay, let me backtrack a little bit. Yeah, we are becoming a little more sensitive. Excuse the fuck out of me.
Why is that a bad thing? That's what I want to know.
Oh, no, we actually fucking give a fuck about other people's feelings. Mm. We're actually becoming more empathetic.
Mm-hmm. And that's...
Oh, woe is me.
Yeah, and that's, it's prevalent in atheist culture, too, because we build ourselves up as, like, these people who just make rational arguments and stuff, and that's all well and good. Like, it's good to... not really, it's good to not try and bring your feelings into purely, rational debates, and like that, even like removing feelings from certain contexts can help, get to an action that will create the most good for the most people. But you can't just throw out feelings most of the time, because we're human and we need to interact, and feelings are actually a legitimate part of making sure the least harm comes to the least amount of people. So if you actually care about humanism, like you should care about feelings, and you should care about that, as well as if you're going to have a discussion with someone, you need to take their feelings into account if you actually want to convert them. You can't just like go up to a Christian and say, oh, I want to butt fuck Jesus in his hand because he was never real anyway, so it can't hurt your feelings. Like, you're never going to... That's not reasonable. Like, it may shock them, but they're just going to curl up and never consider anything else. If you actually care about, if you care about, disagreeing with regressive leftists, the way to do it is not to abuse pronouns and stuff like that. The way to do it is to, come at it in a respectful way and show that you actually care. So, I don't know.
Oh, I do know. I know exactly what's going on. The free speech, the free speech advocates, and let me go ahead and be clear right now. I'm all about some fucking free speech.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a difference between free speech and free speech without consequences. Yep. And these motherfuckers think they can get away with shit. Oh, well, I got free speech rights. Well, yeah, but I can also tell you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, we got into that topic on our show, too.
The SJW Circle Jerk.
That's right. And I want to be part of the Circle Jerk. How can I get in the Circle Jerk, man? Do I need a secret password? Okay, anyway.
You have to go to the pharmacy and buy the lube. That's the initiation.
A pharmacy? Mm-hmm. Wow, that must be some super special lube.
Wait, you have to... I think the part of the initiation ritual that's important is you play the 3 things game at Walmart, where you have to buy 3 things and freak out the cashier as much as possible.
I've never heard of this game.
Oh. Okay.
It sounds...
So I'll go first. I'm going to go to Walmart, and I'm going to buy a package of condoms, a cucumber, and a scuba suit. So
they sell those at Walmart?
I was going to say.
I hope so. Or else
otherwise you're shit out of luck.
No, that's the game plan. So you have to freak out the cashier to get into the circle jerk.
That's interesting. Okay,
but what if she gets triggered, or he, or they? I shouldn't assume their gender.
That's right. Since you're supposed to be a them, they, their, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever that's about.
Damn it.
Which is grammatically incorrect, by the way.
They're made-up pronouns anyway.
Yeah, they're next thing you know, we'll have me call you Z Zer Zim or whatever the fuck.
And then the world would explode.
Whatever. I actually go out of my way to try to do that if I can.
To make the world explode?
Yeah, actually. Because, I mean, to be honest, we're going to do it ourselves. Well, we won't make the world explode. Our species will be extinct in about 100 years.
We're just going to cook ourselves slowly.
And I cannot wait. I hope there's an afterlife and I'm wrong about everything. Even if I'm in hell, like, can I still look at the world and see humanity dying and just be so satisfied?
No, because anything that's satisfying is forbidden in hell.
I just want to turn to my libertarian friends and be like, "Told you so. Told you climate change is happening."
Oh God, I don't understand libertarians. I really don't. I try, but it doesn't work. I don't have the patience. I guess I don't have the lack of empathy required in order to become part of their cult. But anyway. So, yeah.
Actual topics, maybe.
Yeah, it all boils down to this. Social justice warrior. And I like that some people have taken initiative in trying to come up with other D&D classes or, Dungeons and Dragons classes. Or sorry, for those uninitiated, Dungeons and Dragons classes. Like social media rogue or social. Actually, I talked about this. I was on Brainstorm Podcast, which is a Canadian outfit out of Regina,
which is the best city name ever.
Yeah, it rhymes with vagina, the weirdest way. Anyway, strange. But I was like, yeah, social justice rogue, social justice mage.
I'm actually a social justice demogorgon, so there we go.
Okay, now what the fuck is it? Come on, is that even a thing?
That's the second. That's the second Stranger Things reference today.
Oh yeah, no. But was that in the game?
I don't know. I actually never played D&D. I'd like to.
What?
I know. I'm a poser nerd.
Oh my!
I'm a poser nerd, social justice warrior.
Oh no! That's right, poser. I forgot about that. PSJW.
That's right. You got it. That's another one.
And I think that's a sign that SJWs are winning because so many people have taken on the term as a term of endearment for themselves that now, like, people don't know if it's like a good thing or a bad thing if you're a SJW. So now you have to put another letter on there, which nobody knows what the letter P stands for. It stands for poser, but like everybody's like, what's the P? What's the P stand for?
Because he just fucking made it up and pulled it out of his fucking ass. Somebody, whoever it was that said that.
Hypothetically.
I don't know who. Yeah, allegedly. I didn't see any screenshots at all. Anyway, yeah, the whole thing's ridiculous. I mean, they try to use it pejoratively, but there's a lot of people who's like, "Fuck you." I say on my podcast I'm an SJW, just because fuck you, basically.
that's exactly my viewpoint on it. I'm a big fan of taking it back, just like queer people took the word queer back. Like, it's not a bad thing to be queer. It's not an insult. It
was back in the day, and
it was, right. But then people are like, why should we let this term, have so much power over us? We're gonna start saying, yeah, I am queer, and I'm proud of that, which is the same thing that I try to do with being an SJW. Yeah, I try to fight for social justice, and I think that's totally awesome.
Yeah, I don't understand. That's what I don't know. I guess it's just different mindsets. I mean, you try to be empathetic and try to understand the viewpoint of the other side. And I can to an extent, I guess, if you're not really thinking about outside of your bubble and you're just thinking, especially if you're like a white guy, like, I don't see any of this shit happening. Everything looks fine to me. What the fuck are you bitching about?
Well, I don't see race, so I don't know what
You're colorblind?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, you're colorblind. Yeah, exactly.
People tell you you're white and you believe them because sometimes you make Satan.
I do make Satan.
Or however the fuck you say that.
Yeah. It's gluten. Oh my god. It's okay. So I'm vegan. Like, look at all these millennials.
Oh, you
vegan.
fucking
Oh wait, no,
hippie.
sorry. I'm vegetarian, right?
Okay, well, that's a little better. Okay.
And I live in Boulder. Like, look at.
Oh,
I'm just like.
no.
We talked about this on your other show.
Yeah, we did.
And but like, okay, so I make seitan, which is basically wheat gluten, just put into balls, and it has a very meat-like texture, and it's delicious. But it's made
a source of protein.
Yeah, and it's made also almost entirely out of gluten. So I go to the grocery store in Boulder, and you walk down the aisle, and all the grocery stores in Boulder are super hippie. So like, you're walking across all the baking shit. It's like vegan oats, vegan flour, vegan cornstarch.
As opposed to all those oats that were full of bacon or whatever.
No, sorry. I misspoke. Gluten-free oats, gluten-free cornstarch, gluten-free flour. And then I just went into the store to get a bag of gluten. Like, literally, I went and got gluten. And I just...
Can you do that?
Yeah, that's what seitan is made out of. So
Okay, wait. The way you say it makes it sound like Satan.
Yeah.
You're like, how do you spell it?
Seitan.
And what is it? It's a food, obviously. Food stuff of some sort.
It's wheat gluten. It's literally gluten.
But where's the name come from?
Some Asian thing.
Language.
Some Asian thing. Really? That's very culturally sensitive.
Yeah, they're all the same. I have a problem.
Oh!
I have a problem telling them apart, to be honest.
Whatever. But they all got slanty eyes.
Yeah. Whoa.
Hey, Jeremiah, you're the one who thought that the Korean pamphlet that you got was Chinese, so don't frickin' talk about that.
Even I can talk.
So I'm checking out of the grocery store. I literally just bought a bag of gluten, and the cashier like looks at me and she's like, "Really? You bought like this when like you're not supposed to eat any gluten?" And that sounds like kind of fucked as it is. But one of my biggest anxieties is going out shopping and getting judged by the checkout people. Like, I've gone to counseling twice because of that.
No, you did.
Yeah, no, seriously, I hate it. Like, I hate going out shopping.
Well, I do too.
And so, so that happened. So, anyway,
why do they even stock it in their store if nobody ever buys it? That's what I want to know.
That doesn't make any sense. You know what I would do? I would ship that fucking shit over to Jake Farrar Wharton and let his...
Oh.
Why don't you chow down on that, you glutard, motherfucker. Anyway.
See, you're perfect. You've got the point of our show.
Yeah, I know. That's why I try. That's why I love your show, because it's so much my fucking humor.
Just make fun of people with disabilities and bonus points if they are atheist podcasters.
But I don't want to see the... Okay, the point of this show is I'm trying to take it down a notch from the Angry Atheist show and the other show. But I'm...
it's not working.
Well, it works to an extent, but I go on other people's shows a lot. Like I went on that Brainstorm podcast, and I was just talking shit. Now, that's not to say I still have I'm not being hypocritical about anything, but I'm a little more... my
Sounds
language
like something a hypocritical person would say.
Oh, I hate you so much right now. Like I need
Jeremiah's gaslighting.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Somebody said gas. What? I don't even understand the metaphor for it.
Do your thing.
Okay, so gaslighting is an abuse technique in emotional and psychological abuse, where the abuser basically makes the victim question their own sanity and their own perception of reality by either intentionally or unintentionally screwing with them, pretty much. The term comes from this movie called Gaslight, where this husband is trying to make his wife go crazy and get committed to a mental asylum so that he can get insurance money. So he does all this stuff like turning the lights on and off, which is why it's called gaslight. And she's like, "Oh, the light was just on. Why is it off?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? It was always off. Like, are you sure that you're not insane? You're like making stuff up and hallucinating." And gaslighting is that kind of thing where like the abuser will deny that something that clearly happened ever happened, or they'll make up something that didn't happen, that didn't happen, and they'll just be like so adamant about it that you start to question, like, did that actually happen? And this is something that Jeremiah brought up recently, that people have been kind of co-opting this term recently to basically mean, like, if anyone says something that is, I don't know how to describe it. Like, if I kind of a misrepresentation.
I think that's how people are misusing it, though.
There's that, but then there's also people who say that, for example, if you say, I was hurt by that, and someone else says, stop being so sensitive, and they say, oh, you're gaslighting me because you're saying that I didn't really feel what I felt, which can be part of gaslighting sometimes, but that's not the major part of what gaslighting is.
Yeah, I did see, Dan Arrow. I love Dan Arrow. He stood up for Jill Stein for all the time until she turned into a crazy conspiracy nutter. Yep. And Dan Arrow is... I actually admire him a lot because of this. He was like, I support his dick. I might, whatever. It might be good. But he's like,
Dan, if you're listening, I'll give you Jeremiah's contact info and I'll tell you all his kinks.
I don't know if he's poly or gay or if his wife would be okay with it. But, he was like, people were accusing him of gaslighting when he called Jill Stein followers conspiracy theorists because of, the Wi-Fi stuff. And, like, that's not what gaslighting is. That's just not...
But, Jeremiah, we can't tell people how to use terms. That's your whole language deal that you do.
You're prescriptive, or you can't be a prescriptivist, or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh.
Isn't that what they say? I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
You said you listen to our show.
I kind of do. I'm at work, so I like half listen.
Oh, that's better. Okay, you've redeemed yourself in our eyes.
That's good. It'd be better if you didn't listen at all, but if you're going to listen, at least don't pay attention.
So you can hear Ari's dulcet tones without actually hearing what they say.
I don't
My
know
beautiful
about
puberty voice.
Dulcet? It sounds like somebody on helium, but that's a whole nother
story. You hear that, Ari? Your voice is still high.
Triggered dysphoria.
Okay, so I know you're taking testosterone, right? So
yes.
are you interested in going all the way with this, or it's just
going all the way? What does that mean?
I'm sorry. That's a bad 80s movie, actually.
Oh.
But anyway.
Microaggression. Yay.
Yeah.
Indeed, microaggression.
What does microaggression mean either? See, I'm not a good SJW because I'm not really sure what some of these terms mean, to be honest with you. Microaggression I've heard, but I'm not totally sure what it means.
It's basically just sort of a small slight against someone that's usually based in like misperceptions of an identity, usually.
Or it's got some kind of bias that's inherent in the premise.
Yes. Like for example, maybe this isn't, I don't know if this is a microaggression or not, but like, what gender are you really? I think that might be a microaggression.
Or like, you're so pretty for a trans person.
Yeah.
That would be a microaggression because they're not being outright hostile towards trans people. They're trying to be nice about it, but inherent in that assumption is that trans people are not pretty or they're weird looking or something.
That's just passive aggressive bullshit to me.
I mean, I think well-meaning people often do have microaggressions. For example, if you're an atheist, you've probably heard, well, if you're an atheist, where do you get your morals from?
These nuts.
And like, I think...
Sorry. that was childish.
That was epic, actually. That was really good.
I miss these nuts jokes. I'm so glad you brought it back just now.
But like, in a culture where people are raised to think that you can only have morals if you believe in God, part of the premise, it's not malicious to somebody who's been raised in that society, but it's still sort of a malicious attack that reinforces the narrative that atheists are immoral. So it's a microaggression. But,
Oh, Lord. Well, look, y'all, I could probably talk for another hour, but I know y'all got some probably verbal cuddling to do or something, so whatever y'all do. So I know you don't want your show to be known, so maybe you could like tell about your other shows.
The shows that really matter.
Yeah, well, I didn't say that. To me, they all matter because
all shows matter. Oh,
that's
you're
right.
learning.
That's
So
right.
cute. You're like our little disciple.
Just shut the fuck up. Anyway.
Disciple Chris.
Yeah. So, Ari, you're on the Gaytheist Manifesto, yes?
Yes, that is correct.
And you can find that every motherfucking way it's about.
Yeah, Callie pimps the shit out of the show. It's the Gaytheist Manifesto. Look it up on the podcast places.
Twitter, at the Gaytheist.
I don't know. I don't use Twitter.
Gaytheist Callie is her Twitter,
something like that. I should probably know, considering I listen to her say that every week.
Yeah.
At the Gaytheists.
Yeah, at the Gaytheists. Yeah,
yes.
That's their Twitter handle.
We have a Facebook page. We blog on Pathos, pathos.com/blog/the Gaytheist Manifesto.
They don't get enough posts up. It's great.
Shut up about that. I'm working on it. If you want to talk to me and my glorious self, you can find me on Facebook at Ari Stillman. Email me, aristillman4@gmail.com.
Where is your Twitter?
I don't have one.
Okay. Ari, what I'm going to do is, for you, I'm going to start a satire Ari Twitter.
I would love that. Yes.
And then I'm going to say all kinds of crazy shit.
Please do it, and then maybe I'll get hate mail that's about legitimate stuff for once.
Okay, why don't you make it like we rate, like they have a Twitter for rating dogs, but instead, and by the way, that's rating with a T. There's a Twitter that rates dogs, but you could do something like we rate queers. Just like people send in pictures of their queer friends, and you could rate them.
Interesting. Okay, we might have to try to develop this idea a little further. Interesting. Okay. And Ari, you don't have a Twitter, so whatever. You're
useless.
Useless.
Because Twitter is the same thing as Facebook, but you can do less stuff on it. So
it's a cesspool of humanity, so you're not missing much. All right, Jeremiah, you're on Twitter at the Prophet Jeremiah
at NRR Prophet.
NRR Prophet. Fuck, that's right. You tell me. Fuck, why am I trying to do your...
Yeah, I'm on No Religion Required. Will be stepping down from to a less prominent role on the show, but still listen to it, especially if you want some Southern fried blasphemy or any of that shit. But I do the science.
In sweet tea.
Yeah, I do the science stuff on that show. Email me nrrprofit@gmail.com, and don't listen to our stupid ass show, the Social Justice Warrior Circle Jerk.
Especially do not listen to Social Justice Warrior Circle Jerk, which can be found on Spreaker.
Yeah, Spreaker and iTunes.
Spreaker and iTunes.
Yep.
That's just an additional place where you can not download it from.
Do not download that at all.
Yeah, one day we may even expand to Stitcher, where even more people can decide not to listen to us. That'll be pretty exciting.
But probably not, because that would require work, and that would violate rule number 2.
No. Do not do it. I'm not even going to put you in the show notes and put links to your fucking show.
Thank you. You're a good friend.
I'm not going to do that. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for coming on. It's been a fucking blast. And
I don't know what we talked about.
I don't either. I was on meth the whole time, so I've been high, so I don't remember.
I've been watching porn the whole time, so.
Ari, do you have any spontaneous outro that you have, maybe?
Look at me, I'm doing a wiggle dance. It's great for the audio thing. I write all my outros ahead of time, and I'm not so good with pressure.
God,
I'll do the Colin Kaepernick outro. Oh, say, can you see?
He
on that note,
song. That didn't even make any fucking sense.
Yeah, it didn't make any goddamn sense. So.
I'm sitting down. That's the joke.
Oh.
And on that note,
great content for audio.
Yay!
Woohoo! All right, thanks, y'all. Take it easy.
Thank you.
And that'll do it for another episode of the Podunk Polymath Podcast. I want to thank Ari and Jeremiah for coming on to the show. It was a great pleasure, and it was a lot of fun, and I hope to have them on again sometime. Of course, you can check out the show on Facebook at /the Podunk Polymath, on Twitter at Podunk Polymath, email podunk.polymath@gmail.com, youtube.com/c/the Podunk Polymath, Google plus.google.com/plus, the actual symbol for plus, the Podunk Polymath. And of course, you can be my patron on patreon.com/the Podunk Polymath. Join the brainstorm crew and being part of the posse. Haha, I'm so clever. And of course, the music is by Dash. If you want to check them out on Facebook, it's easier if you just go to the link, because it's facebook.com/.-/6295-146-1991. It's kind of complicated. You can check them out on CD Baby, cdbaby.com/cd/.dash. And of course, if you want to donate, you can go to my page and you can donate at thepodunkpolymath.com. You can check me out. There's a button for the RSS feed, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, all that good stuff. And of course, you can follow the blog from that. If you're on WordPress, you can follow it and all that kind of good stuff on there as well. You can see recent posts, even my Twitter feed's on there. So that's super awesome. So anyway, thanks again for joining me for the show. It's been fun so far. I hope y'all are enjoying it, and I hope if you have any concerns or questions, hit me up and let me know if there's something I'm doing wrong, if there's something that you'd like to see done, or a subject covered, topic covered, let me know. All right, until next week, y'all take it easy, okay?